beyond the grace of God, a wanderer in the outer darkness, my children. We've already covered one movie adaptation at the beginning of this year with the beloved recreation of Alien. So why don't we try another classic with Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula? And already we're off to a unique endeavor with this one, my children. The artwork comes from Mike Mignola, known of course for Hellboy. And if you got the large collected edition of this tale, it's even entirely in black and white, making for its own different sort of reading experience. But since the movie was in color, let's examine the individual issues and their color counterpart. In 1462, Vlad Dracula led 7,000 Christian soldiers against 30,000 Turks, driving them back. But his wife, Elisabetta, receives false news of his death in battle. She commits suicide, and the church officials say that with the taking of her own life, her soul cannot be saved. She is damned. They hype that kind of thing up as being bad, but you get to party with skeletons when that happens. You ever have a drinking contest with a skeleton? It's wild. Dracula, mad with rage over this pronouncement, renounces God and swears that if his wife burns in hell, so shall he. His form was cursed, the blood of Christ is life, and thus so shall be his. His wife subsumed in that same blood. 400 years later, a woman named Mina quite resembles the late Elisabetta, and is staying with her wild, extroverted, and a bit lewd friend Lucy. Mina's fiancé, Jonathan, has been made a partner in the firm he works for, now that his superior, Mr. Renfield, has lost his mind. And so he travels to Dracula's castle in the Carpathian Mountains, with the clever effects of the film making their way into the comic too. The map behind the train, the eyes in the sky looking down at Harker, and of course, Dracula's signature look of the film. While the hair is still, well, not exactly dignified, the artwork helps give it a more stylistic look thanks to the heavy shadows and black, sightless eyes. Spotting Mina's picture, Dracula recognizes his true love reborn and decides to confine Jonathan to the castle while he goes back to London in his place. While we spot Mr. Renfield in an insane asylum preparing insects and animals to either be eaten by himself or his master, Jonathan explores the castle and all of its eerie presence, for it is old and it has many memories, including Dracula's 3 vampire brides who would happily feast on him, though Dracula warns them off for now. For all the talk of his eternal love for Elisabetta and his desire to be reunited with her, he sure seemed to bounce back quickly with 3 new girlfriends that live with him now. Back with Mina and Lucy, the latter has finally gotten a proposal from one of her 3 suitors. The Texan Quincy Morris, the doctor in charge of Renfield, Jack Sayward, and Lord Arthur Holmwood, who made the proposal and now stands to marry her. She still proclaims to love all 3 though, leading Mina to proclaim that she can't marry all 3. Why not? Seemed to work for Dracula. Speaking of that figure, he arrives by boat along with his all-seeing eyes, killing the boat crew for sustenance before meeting with Lucy for a different sort of sustenance. Dracula meets with Mina in the streets, younger and more attractive in disguise, and eventually charms her. Lucy soon takes ill, the bite marks on her neck forming the eyes of a wolf. And such unusual symptoms call for a specialist friend of Dr. Sayward, Abraham Van Helsing. Upon seeing her and hearing of her symptoms, he suspects the work of the vampire, though he may be too late, as Mina continues to be wooed by the Count. Fortunately, that spell of love is temporarily broken when Jonathan manages to escape from the castle and collapses at a nunnery. Mina is sent for so the 2 can be married, and she breaks off her relationship with Dracula. In his anger and sorrow, he makes his way past Lucy's guards and finishes her off. However, Van Helsing knows that death is only the beginning for Lucy, So he takes her 3 suitors to her tomb, discovering it empty. Lucy's vampire, Nosferatu, a creature that does not die like the bee after the first sting, but instead grows stronger and becomes immortal once infected by other Nosferatu. So, of course, when they find her, clad in her burial whites, clutching a child to be her first meal, her eyes as red as the blood she craves, they force her back, chop off her head, and cut out her heart. We even get a few sequences not in the movie. For when Jonathan returns to London, in the film he merely glances at young Dracula in the streets, but here he pursues him, running into his more beast-like form that flies off into the night. Van Helsing probes Jonathan for information, learning of his various estates he's purchased. The group goes out to eliminate his boxes of earth, which he needs to sustain himself. But while they do this, Dracula goes to Mina, who is overcome with desire for him, to be like him. And thus she drinks of his blood, while he feeds from her, linking them together. However, love will do him no good if he should die, so he flees London back to his home in the Carpathian Mountains. The men pursue, having to split up when Dracula uses his connection to Mina to learn of their plans. Van Helsing and Mina dispatch Dracula's brides, while the others reach him too late. Dracula managing to kill Quincy before he too is stabbed. Mina arrives and finishes the job of ending him, though with his consent on that task. After all, mortal love has no hold on them. Theirs shall last all eternity. It is a rare occasion when a comic adaptation of the movie can equal or surpass that film it originates from. But I would argue, my children, that this comic is most definitely equal to the Coppola film, proving yet again that this medium stands in glory alongside others. Ah!